Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with Anishinaabe Police continuing to investigate what's been confirmed as a fatal fire in Peawanuck First Nation. It happened on Thursday. 2 adults died and 3 other people remain in hospital for treatment. It's still unknown what caused the blaze. Anishinaabe Nation announced mental health and other support workers have been mobilized to assist those affected by the tragedy. Superior North EMS provided TBT News with the chance to take part in a ride-along earlier this week. It provided the opportunity to learn more about what it takes to be a paramedic and included high-stress moments responding to an overdose.
It's a consistently high-stress profession, but vital to the health and safety of everyone in Thunder Bay. Superior North EMS provided TBT News the opportunity to join one of their crews for an evening ride-along. But we begin back at EMS headquarters on Junot Avenue and meet the 2 veteran paramedics with more than 3 decades of experience between them.
What makes me keep coming to work is seeing everybody here, and but yeah, it's been a lot of ups and downs. I started off my first year out of school. I did a year out in the district, so worked like Red Rock, Nipigon mostly, and then I applied back into the city, and then I've been here ever since.
And same for you, 20 years, even longer, 2 decades now. What's it been like spending those 2 decades here?
So a little different. I've been all my years in the city, and he did a little bit in the district, so always in the city. Big change from when I've started 20 years ago. Different building. It's way busier than we started. We've got more ambulances on the road, and the call volume is much higher than 20 years ago.
But before hitting the road, a crucial part of the job, ensuring the ambulance is stocked with the life-saving equipment it needs.
All of your bags, the cupboards, your defibrillator, anything you might need under the bench seat to make sure if you're missing anything and you have adequate things. You do have an envelope that's got a checklist on it. After you've done it for a period of time, you don't really need that to rely on. You just know by looking what you're missing, you replace that. If a high priority call comes in, though, they will page you out for that call. You don't get your 20 minutes. You just go to that call.
Now that the ambulance is stocked, the crew heads out to one of its satellite stations, where they can be closer to the areas of the city they more often receive calls from. But prior to receiving a serious call, Martinic and Kukanado did have some time to unwind, which often doesn't happen on shift. Kukanado took the opportunity to tell us a little bit about what it takes to be a paramedic and the biggest barriers for those students who can't cut it after graduation.
You can be book smart, you can know your directives inside and out, but I think the biggest thing is that if you don't know how to talk to people and if you don't know how to talk to people and apply your training with that, then it's not for you.
Not long after explaining what it takes to be successful in the field, Kukanado had to put those skills into practice.
Better go up and eat
Right in the because it's closer to this.
Yeah.
Just minutes after receiving the high priority call, paramedics were on scene to assist with what was confirmed to be an overdose. They were supported by a number of police cruisers as well as Thunder Bay Fire Rescue.
You can just stay like that, okay? I'm just gonna listen to your back, listen to your lungs. Just stay nice and still, okay? You're soaked.
Kukanado made his way back to the front of the ambulance to begin heading to the hospital, while Martinic remained in the back, assisting the patient.
Did you do any other drugs besides the down? Just the down.
Speaking afterwards, Martinic was thankful the patient was provided with Narcan and says it would have been a much more challenging scenario if they hadn't.
They'd be blue. Usually they're not breathing. That's usually the case for an overdose, but often then they can also be without a pulse, which would require a full resuscitation effort.
And for Kukanado, teamwork between paramedics is a life-saving measure in itself.
My partner's doing something. I kind of know what else needs to be done in the background. She's asking most of the questions, and we're basically just kind of working as a team.
The patient was successfully offloaded and registered at the hospital for treatment.
With the Ontario Winter Games less than 2 weeks away, organizers have been busy preparing for the over 1,300 people coming into the city. Volunteers have also been preparing and just picked up their volunteer kits earlier this afternoon. Jessica Clement has the story.
The Ontario Winter Games will be here soon, and both organizers and volunteers have been hard at work getting things ready for the 1,300 athletes, coaches, and officials coming into the city. Volunteers made their way to the West Thunder Community Center on Sunday to pick up their volunteer kits. And we spoke to some of those volunteers who said they were excited to be a part of the upcoming sporting event.
I'm really interested in doing volunteering, and also I'm really interested to see the games, people playing, and it's very exciting, so I decided to join.
Giving back to the community. I mean, I've always been involved in some things in the community, and now that I'm retired, I have more time, so I have no problem doing that at all. It's fun. It's good to see the athletes out there, see the competition. You know, this is big for the city. That's going to bring a lot of economic benefits. You know, the hotels, the restaurants, and, you know, after COVID, we can certainly use everything we can get.
Back in September, organizers were asking for over 700 volunteers to help with the games. And Stacey Levinan, Marketing and Communications Chair, states over 1,000 people answered the call. She says the amount of people willing to help out shows the city's volunteering spirit.
It's amazing. Thunder Bay has an amazing group of people who always step up to the plate to volunteer. We have a lot of folks who volunteered with other sporting events like the Special Olympics. So we've got really experienced volunteers. We have a volunteer sponsor, which is TBT, so their staff have really stepped up to help. But yeah, I mean, we had, close to 1,000 very quickly. It was not hard to get volunteers.
And Levinan says in terms of finishing preparations on the board members' side, things have really started picking up steam.
We have the organizing committee and 20 subcommittees, so everything from sport technical to food to accommodations. Everybody's very busy getting prepared to invite just over 1,300 athletes here on the weekend of February 16th and the weekend of the 23rd.
Levinan encourages all residents to attend the Games' opening ceremonies on February 16th and February 23rd, both at Fort William Historical Park. The gates open at 5 p.m. and the ceremony starts at 6:30. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
The Thunder Bay and District Injured Workers Support Group hosted a special community meeting this past week featuring MPP Lise Vaugeois. She was there to hear from local residents about their experiences with workplace injuries and illnesses. The event was held at the local OPSU office. People spoke about their times in the workplace and moments they experienced problems with the Workers' Safety and Insurance Board. Among other things Vaugeois wanted to hear was ideas on how to improve the WSIB system. There's also a plan to create a new Workers' Compensation Act and bring it forward to the Ontario Legislature.
People here have very hard stories to hear because WSIB has not been there to support them. And it's particularly bad for people who have permanent injuries. So I'm working on a private member's bill, and I've got some basis for that, but I also want to open up the space, tell people kind of where the bill is at so far, and then get input, feedback.
It's really important for workers to feel like they're heard. Oftentimes, the relationships with the folks at the WSIB, people feel like maybe they're not being heard, or they're not really being listened to, or they're not being believed.
It's the first-hand experiences. You hear third-hand about somebody's story, but you don't really know it until you hear the person telling it.
Vaugeois hopes to bring the new act to the legislature before the next election in 2026. Lake of the Woods Brewing Company is planning an $8 million expansion of its operations in Canora, and the city has decided to chip in and support the project. Canora City Council recently voted to contribute $375,000 towards the construction of a brewer's village on Valley Drive. The new project will include a 20,000 square foot manufacturing and production facility, as well as a retail outlet and a restaurant. Future developments on the 15-acre lot could also include hiking trails or community gardens.
At a time where it's really hard to court businesses to come to Canora or anywhere, it's new and expanding. We will get taxes and sewer water rates from them. It will increase tourism in Canora. I think it's checking all the boxes. I think it's a great project.
The city's Director of Economic Development and Tourism says the project represents, quote, one of the largest employment creation projects in the last decade. It's expected to create 19 new full-time jobs and at least 10 part-time jobs. The Delta Hotel was purring with activity this weekend as Shop Local T-Bay hosted its third annual Valentine's Vendor Market to raise money for a local cat rescue. The market featured 69 vendors offering a variety of products, including jewelry, clothing, baby items, and artwork. Face painting and crafts were available for younger kids, and a small professional photo area was also set up for Valentine's pictures. All funds raised from the market will be going towards Caring Hearts Cat Rescue and Sanctuary. Shop Local T-Bay owner Dana Gordon says they host a number of markets every year, with each event raising money for a different charity. She adds that Caring Hearts holds a special place in hers.
I had 3 cats I got from them, so it was great. They help the community in so many different ways. They help surrenders, they help vetting, and everything. It's just an amazing organization, so hopefully we can raise a lot of funds for them.
More information about Shop Local T-Bay's future events can be found on their Facebook. We're now joined by sports anchor Josh Marano. Josh, Thunderwolves hockey has been an absolute blast to watch as of late. Huge games, and they're delivering.
You want to talk about pouncing on opportunities? That is exactly what the Thunderwolves have been doing as of late, and we'll have those highlights for you coming up after the break.